Hey YouTube, what's up? Rick Steele Customs coming at you with another update on this 2007 Honda Accord front end collision job I'm doing. The junkyard didn't know what year it was. So it is a 2007, not an 08. But in any case, I sectioned this portion of the right front upper core support, and I am now grafting it in to the proper position on my car. Now what I did was I cut it as close as I could through the circle, and when I weld it, it's going to be right about there, which is about perfect. I do have a bit of a gap that I'm going to have to fill, which is no big deal because I do have a piece right here that I can cut off and graft in. This is important to really get everything to line up properly. Your headlight, your hood, your bumper cover. You get a fender that's perfect, that has no dents, no bondo, it's never been repaired. And you adjust everything to line up with the fender. If you're doing a Honda Accord, you want to go by these two fender bolts. That's what's bolting on this particular portion of core support. Once you get this far, the next step will be to install the headlight and to check the gap around the perimeter. You can't always go by the old spot welds because I just think that some of these were all done by computer, and sometimes the computer programming is a slight variable from one factory assembly plant to another, I'm assuming, because in this particular car they did not line up properly. So instead of going by those, I am going by this portion of protruding frame rail. Here's the core support. Here's where it's welded on, and you can see I have approximately a 1/4 inch gap at the top corner right there. And on this side, this is where the spot welds were. It's a slightly different location. That's about right about there compared to the opposite side. But in any case, this is not what's important. Again, what's important is the fender. Line everything up with the fender. Once you get the fender bolted onto the car, you want to check your door gap. Make sure your door gap is good, or in this case, perfect. Once that's perfect, then you want to close your hood and see where you line up with the hood. And that looks pretty even. Yeah, that's pretty even. Now, it's not 100% perfect, but because we haven't welded it to the frame rail, we can still make subtle adjustments. That's probably about perfect right there. So what I would do is tack weld it right there, and then on the inside we have bolts that bolt the fender to the upper frame rail. So if necessary, there is a slight adjustment that can be made to the fender itself by drilling, going from about that size hole to about that size hole. It'll give you enough adjustment to slide the fender closer to the hood to close up the gap. But you also have to remember that there's a plastic portion that fits up in here. And there is the plastic portion I'm referring to. There's one for each side. So I'd recommend installing that first. prior to doing your elongations on your holes, but you can do it anyway because it's not going to affect anything, even if you don't even bother to adjust it. But I am going to go ahead and drill out those holes because that's about right there. For some reason, these Hondas did come with good sized gaps on the hood. I mean, this side was not damaged at all. I changed the fender because of the hail damage, not because of collision damage. And you can see this gap is about the same size as the other side. So that's just the way it came from the factory. The only difference I see is up front, right here. But when I tack weld it, I'm going to tack weld it in the proper position, which is right there. That doesn't really do much for back there, but it does up here. Now we'll test the headlight and see how it lines up. Okay, now that the headlight is installed, it is virtually perfect. There's a slight gap right there, but if you'll notice, this gap has to be closed. So when I close that gap, the headlight gap pretty much goes away. And it's pretty much equal to the undamaged side. So anyway, I'm going to call that pretty much ready to weld up. And that'll be my next 10-15 minutes. That's what I'm going to take care of. So I guess I can go ahead and do that and show you what that looks like after it's welded up. You guys have seen plenty of welding videos, but I haven't put the bolt on the bottom, so once that's on, gap looks pretty good. And like I said, the hood gap, just drill out the holes about two sizes larger, and then push it in. And while you're pushing it, the fender in from the outside, just torque down the bolt, and the fender will stay exactly in that position. So anyway, I'd appreciate if you guys would leave me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon for future videos, especially if you want to see this thing painted. I'm going to paint it the same exact color. I've since put new wheels on it since the last video. New used wheels. These were a really good deal. I picked them up on Craigslist locally right here. And the tires are actually brand new in the back. The front ones are pretty much worn out. And these are Goodyear Reliant all seasons. They were from December of 22, and they have 9/10 worth of tread left. They came originally with 9/32 rather. I mean 10/32. These got 9/32. They came with 10. So very little use on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up 2 more to match the rear, because I don't like having different treads on any of my tires. They all have to have the same exact tread pattern in order for it to track properly down the road. Besides, these have got some dry rot. But in any case, I picked them up for $150 for all 4 wheels and tires. That was a bargain. And how did I do that? Good question. I did that by placing a Craigslist wanted ad in the auto parts category of Craigslist. Before placing the ad, I scoured the internet for these exact wheels. I took a picture of 4 of them loose without tires, stuck them on Craigslist and said, wanted set of these Honda wheels. If you have them, call me. So this guy calls me up, says I got them. I said, how much you want? He said 200. And I said, well, I just ignored it. I told him, I said, I really don't want the tires, which I didn't. I was just going to go buy brand new tires. But it worked out even better because now I just got to buy 2 new tires. And that particular tire can be found right now on Walmart.com for only $100 even each. So for another 200 bucks, I'll have 350 bucks in nice tires and wheels. Or rather, new tires and rather nice wheels. I really love these wheels. These are off of an 08 Accord. I think they're pretty cool. And the really neat thing about these particular wheels is you can go to eBay and type in factory Honda chrome hubcaps. And they actually sell a hubcap that's chrome, that's contoured and molded to fit this exact wheel. And it looks like you have chrome plated wheels. The only bad thing about it is they should have, well, they have a circle right here. So I guess if you can find some Honda decals or go to the junkyard and find some Honda emblems, all you'd have to do is drill a couple holes, put it on, you know, and glue it to the chrome. And it would look like you have a really nice set of chrome wheels. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. You have any questions about anything that I'm doing here, post the comments below and I will be happy to get back with you with an answer as soon as possible. But anyway, let me weld this up and you can check it out in the next video. So again, hit that bell icon and you'll see when and where this thing pops up. Rick Steele Customs, wishing you guys the best. Live long and prosper.